Before we get to Tobias, I'll go ahead and kick this thing off. Welcome to TimeBolt office hours on April 14th, 2022, where Quinston and I are here to answer your questions, check your workflows, and generally provide best practices on how to use TimeBolt effectively. Today, we are going to be talking about some exciting new product updates that we're going to be emailing out. We'll get to that after we talk questions and get to some of our customers. First up, we have Tobias. Tobias, how you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, good.
Excellent. Tobias, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself before we kind of get to your questions, how you use TimeBolt when you found it?
I just found it actually. I've been actually editing videos and teaching video production since, I've been editing since forever, but I've been teaching since 2012 or something. Both in Premiere Pro and Final Cut and a little bit Resolve. And Premiere Rush, which is very popular now with business clients. And I just discovered the TimeBolt 3 weeks ago or something.
Oh, fantastic.
And I only have one project so far. I tried it once and it was really good. And then I was like, good. And then I made a long course about Premiere Pro. And I thought, let's see what TimeBolt can do. And suddenly I have a 3-hour long recording and it makes it 45 minutes shorter, but then I'm playing through everything. And it's like, oh man, I had more work than before because I was fine editing everything, way too much. So I've been spending 2 days now on at least. I don't know exactly how to set it up properly, but it found all the small mistakes, every little thinking break. And it was a bit too much. But other than that, for simpler videos, it was for my simpler tests, it was brilliant.
So let's see if we can fix that. Let's see if we can fix that for you. Can you show us your workflow and a little bit about the project?
I've done this 10 times now, but I don't know if there's any other way to open a JSON file.
No, so when you export it to the Premiere Pro plugin?
I haven't gone that far yet. I'm still working through. I'm in hour 2 chunk. I think it's 4 chunks, and I'm in chunk 3 now or something.
What's the exact... what's the issue? Is it detecting stuff that you don't want to detect, or is it
Well, it detects every little thinking break I have now. And for a 2 or 3 hour long course, or that I was thinking of chopping up into different sections, I don't have to necessarily make it all it's a really tight YouTube video. It doesn't have to be as fast, but okay. I don't know. I was just trying to figure out if this is the best way to use TimeBolt also for longer courses, or if it's just ideal for let's say a 10-minute talking video on YouTube and just chopping it up or something.
So is it detecting things that you don't want to detect, or is it what's the core issue? What is happening that you don't want to?
It detects everything just fine. The result is great. It just takes 2 working days now just to listen through this whole 2 hours or 2.5 and okay, here it detected a little bit too late, here it detected a little bit too early, here is this is a little wrong, or here it actually jumped over a word. Sometimes I would say something and correct myself, and then it jumps over the correction but not over the mistake, or vice versa. So now I have this video with 4 chunks. Okay, so let's go down. Then I would usually just okay, you guys all in the way here. That's the JSON, but JSON, maybe not JSON. And then we have to do all of this again. So far, I've spent all this time just trying to open the project.
Okay, so one thing that I can...
Been on it for 45 seconds. No, I'm just kind of putting some context. Your file is 2.5 hours long, and within 45 seconds, you've automatically detected all the silences in that file, right? And you've just applied a JSON.
But since I've opened it... Since I'm coming back to the file, it's I have to do
no, that's fine. I understand where the issue is. You're talking about opening the file without detecting it and using the JSON, right? It's
yeah, that would be. So
you don't want to. Okay, I understand.
But now stuff, let's say I think I'm in chunk 3 by now. Now I have to do the same thing again to go to chunk 3 because I've edited chunk 1, 2, and I'm somewhere in chunk 3. Yeah, 142.20. Also in chunk 3, it starts with lots of white stuff. I don't know what that is. And then suddenly it starts working. Don't know what this whole area is. If this is left over from the previous chunk.
Wrong with the JSON file.
But now, here's me. With my eyes closed at this very moment. It's fine.
Your settings seem to be correct. So can you scroll up? So what are these little words that you're cutting out, that you're fine tuning, you're cutting out here? Just restarts. See how
Oh, so this is the part he's already worked on, right?
Yeah.
Like this is basically, as you can maybe see here, this is like I've done a live stream without nobody watching, basically. So I got my screen, I've got some logos on top here, and I've got my webcam in the circle. So this is all just one finished video file, and the sound is mixed with the audio mixer beforehand, so it sounds good. Now I don't know where I am right now, but like I'm basically just trying to find a way to streamline course creation, because now obviously Premiere Pro is updating every couple of years. So like I've done this before, so now I'm just doing a new iteration, but it didn't help me to get faster right now.
Instagram filter. So after you have corrected everything, if you then want to, I don't know, add a filter so it looks
so you have
old school,
like you can preview at a faster speed. Okay, so if you scroll up,
is it L or something?
Make it look more brown.
Yeah, you can go L,
white,
but
just
you can hit
colors.
L. Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah.
If you also scroll up and see the playback preview playback, you can. Our new version has 1.5x. Okay, so this is basically your default preview. So if you hit 2x every time you hit the space, click on 2x. Okay, now go down to your timeline. So every time you hit the space bar, your default speed value is going to be 2x.
Oh, that's smart.
Grading is, so that's like adding a filter in the end.
Yeah, I like that.
Color grading part. We don't like filters in this
like
case.
I'm seriously like, so far I don't know exactly. I figured that this is maybe not the ideal way of using TimeBolt, so it would have been better to, instead of recording a long session, just record like maybe 20 minutes chunks for every topic that I'm going through. That might be easier. But other than that, and this is partly my fault, but other than that, I'm seriously impressed with TimeBolt, and also like the small things like, okay, I press L twice, it speeds up, and also the new funny thing, like switching it around and only having like the breathing and all the outtakes in it.
Oh yeah, the flip
Very
timeline.
fun.
Yeah, no. So you've studied how to use TimeBolt, and so have you exported yet to Premiere?
I just watched the tutorial the other day where you had this new Premiere plugin, and that looked awesome, but I haven't actually tried it. Just I've also thought of, and that's actually a second question. Is it possible? Like I thought it's possible that if let's say I record a 10 minutes, 15 minutes live session like this, I open up in TimeBolt, cut out some parts I don't want, and then export that directly as a video file. But my only question is, sometimes, since this is a live setup and not all the microphones and stuff is always at the perfect level, sometimes I just wish to normalize the whole audio or make it a bit louder. It seems like the stuff in the settings doesn't get applied to neither the XML nor the video export, right?
No, it doesn't. It's just for the detection. It's just for audio.
Okay, yeah.
Your audio will sound degraded when you're listening to it through preview in TimeBolt if you turn on the audio normalization settings.
Okay. Because
But it won't affect the output.
That would have been a real time saver for me, though, because then then it would be faster after all to just export it to Premiere, fix maybe the audio level there, and then export it the finished thing again. It just would have been nice if I could just like click one button and balances it out, kind of like ScreenFlow does, if you've ever used that.
Are you talking about multiple tracks?
I do have ScreenFlow, which I used to before. But like I said, now I go more into live streaming and live recording. And in ScreenFlow, for example, you've got one amazing smart function. If you have any like video, it's also a great preview image. Anyway, like there, they have one magic button under the audio tab, which is smooth audio levels. It just makes everything louder and a bit more equal.
One click.
It's kind of some normalization. It says normalize and smooth out the volume in a click.
Understood. Yeah.
And that usually works great. So I wish TimeBolt would have that on export as well.
Okay.
Because then in best case, I can just make live recordings, chop out the parts I don't need, the sound fix button, and then have a finished video. Then I don't have to use Premiere Pro at all. But it's not super important, but it would be nice.
And you're using Premiere Pro to fix the audio levels. That's what.
But I mean, ideally, I can, like, I've got a podcast microphone here, which is not connected right now. And so if I spend time beforehand, I can obviously set the levels correctly. But sometimes I'm making video courses, sometimes I make Skype calls, sometimes I make music and record vocals. So I'm changing the settings all the time. It's not just like me talking in one way. And then it's like sometimes the levels just don't get right. So this is like, it detects the current level in the timeline.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So you can
smart.
set it.
Yeah, I wondered what that was. Okay, that I didn't get. Like, I know you can type something in, but this is like
so you can increase. So if you increase the filter below value, it will get more audio. And if you decrease it, you'll get less audio. So if you put minus 50, 55, for example, it will get more audio. And if you put minus 25, you'll get less audio.
But at those levels, you just have to be careful, because if you decrease it too much, it'll cut some words off, or increase it too much. So, I mean, it looks good. I mean, the audio looks good to me, like where it's set right now. I'm not seeing any words getting cut off or...
Let's scroll ahead to where I haven't been working.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty clean as is right now, so...
Let's go further. Here, I've definitely not been working yet. So, I don't know. Oh, it looks the same kind of here. What is that?
Here you have under motion.
Yeah, so that so is perfect. That's like a filler word, so that's removed.
Exactly.
That's good.
You have under motion. Maybe this is all closed on your screen. If you open this for the first time, everything will be closed. Kind of.
Like, is there a way for me to, for example, here it just takes out, I don't know how much that is, half a second or second of silence. Like, it doesn't have to take that away, but since it's now auto detecting,
you can do that. So there's the option there. Remove silences longer than. So we'll remove only silences which are longer than 0.5. If you want to keep silences which are more than that, you can change that value. You can make it 0.75, and it will only remove silences which are longer than 0.75.
Yeah, so what he's saying, like in that example, if you put that at 0.75, okay, you're going to not have this right after, like it sounded like a filler word, and this space. I don't know why you...
No, so if when it detects the silence, right, the silence has a width, it has a length, right? So it could be 0.1 seconds, it could be 7 seconds. The silence has a length, like how big the silence is. So this filter removes silence longer than, if it detects a silence which is longer than 0.5 seconds, it will remove it. So if you want to keep silences which are greater than 0.5 seconds, you can change that value to, let's say, 1 second. And every silence that is less than 1 second will be kept. And every silence
so for example,
more than
I would
1
have
second.
to increase this then, like the opposite. Ignore detection shorter than.
Yeah, so if we detect some
like, for example, this part here, it doesn't have to detect and cut out, basically.
Correct. So you can play around with them. I mean, it's just like, I'd recommend getting a smaller file and just having those options, and just playing around with them. You get a hang of it. It'll make your workflow much easier.
You know, even like your left padding, you can go more aggressive at 0.01 if you wanted to, okay? Because the start of a word is pretty defined versus the long S's and T's. And so you can get really aggressive with the left padding and just control how many jump cuts you have by removing silences longer than, you know, if you wanted to do a second. But after you do this, after you go through and you fine tune your timeline, you're gonna...
Can you export to Premiere Pro right now and see if everything is in order?
This is the XML option, just so people know, not the plugin option.
Yeah, this is not the plugin. So you can click on that. Yeah, so you can open Premiere Pro. Yeah, so now what you'll need to do is find where that file is. So wherever your main MP4 or... Okay, now you can...
Oh, and it took the right video in. Great, yeah.
Yeah, so one thing that you need to do now is you have to go to the bottom left and click on the icon next to the dot with the 2 bars. The icon with the 2 bars. Yeah, that one. Yeah, this. And now click on the sequence. So open the sequence. So you can click on the sequence icon. Yeah, double click on it. Now your entire timeline is like populated.
This was easy. I don't need a plugin for that. This is the first time doing that. So it's now 1 hour 50. So that is correct. Yeah.
So we're just gonna give it
still loading. Look at that. It's still loading.
Dude, there's a billion cuts, man. We're like, it's 30 seconds. We'd be like 2 minutes into like cutting out the first 20 seconds of a video.
That's why this has taken me so far, almost 2 full working days. Just thought of trying to do the edit in TimeBolt, but not exactly right on this long file. But yeah, you got an intro here. Hey.
Hello, and thanks for checking out this Premiere Pro crash course. How to...
I don't know if you hear the sound, but yeah, that's me talking.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, okay, so that works. Great.
So you don't need a plugin to export to XML. The plugin is essentially for multicam files, which... So what happens is here you can just export the video and the audio. Sometimes what happens is people have like multiple cameras which they use, right?
Yeah.
So they want to have the same cuts applied to multiple cameras. This method is not, the XML method is not good for that. So we had to create a plugin for the multiple files thing. But here you can just export XML and use it with.
Yeah, I've seen that video tutorial that Doug was doing with the Premiere Pro plugin, and Yeah, that's right. It also had
So
multiple.
you don't need a
files.
plugin for this.
But the way I'm set up now, I hardly ever will have multiple files.
I hope that makes you happy.
Well, at least I have all of this now in Premiere Pro, and I can sort through that. Yeah. By the way, also the first time I opened TimeBolt, it was like you have to press Command K or something to split. And I'm like, why?
And now it says.
And the next
S.
update, like just a couple of days later, was like, you just press one button. I was like, that makes so much more sense. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful.
So over there would be Oslo, but you can't really see it. And this way to the big ocean, Denmark, and the world.
Are you on an island?
I like the waterfall background that you got. Is that
It's a
real
lake,
or is
right?
that a
That's
green
a
screen?
Yeah, I'm right across the island from you.
Yeah. Perfect. I'll just come over because I want some warmer weather.
Yeah, there you go.
As you see, I'm sitting here with winter clothes because it is like, I don't know, +5 Celsius or something. So just above freezing.
Well, Tobias, it was great. It was great meeting you, talking to you, and
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. This was awesome.
Sure, absolutely. We've got and thank you for choosing TimeBolt. We've got another person with an interesting name of user. Might be an X or something that's checking in on me. Just
A competitor.
going anonymous.
Be a competitor.
So what do you think about the smoothing out audio levels? Is that something that's possible?
That is possible. It could be a filter that we can add on top of the render, like before you.
Be a filter you add
export it
on.
out.
What would
So
it do?
one thing that I got from talking with Tobias is that we should probably have a tutorial video, which is like it doesn't explain about the product. Like we assume that people know what the product does, but we have like a video which tells them about the most used quick keys and the most used techniques to like quickly go through a bunch, like the up key. Like I don't think we have a video for that. Like using the up key to go to the next cut, using the up key to go to the next cut, and using the down key, like a video which shows them the best way to navigate the timeline. You know, like timeline navigation. How do you like quickly go through like big portions of the timeline without?
Yeah, we always get kind of caught in a scenario where it's, you've got. Do you put it all together as far as like one video?
So one more thing that I found very interesting is that we can have like, now when you save a JSON file, right, the second you have the timeline edited essentially, and when you're trying to open TimeBolt again, you don't want the same file to be run again through silence detection because you already have the JSON file. So we can have we have the main box which is like open the file, but then we can also have an option below. It's open with
Save project.
Saved, yeah, like a save projects type of thing. Open with JSON. So you select the file and you select the JSON file. After that, and instead of like detecting the silences, it will just open the cuts in the JSON file.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
There's a lot of people that don't know what a JSON file is, as opposed to opening a saved project where...
Yeah, I mean, we could call it something. I'll think about what to call it.
It's a good idea, though.
Yeah, I think it should be implemented to save a lot of time.
We've got a new feature inside TimeBolt. It's going to be 4.4.2. Sorry about that. So what you're able to do here is basically this is where I put down at 1.5x, Tobias.
Some of that, and then we got a.
Of course, you can hit L.
Because I'm gonna break the show. It's like, we need to get.
And so if you want to punch in on, if you've got some action on the screen, you can punch in 150%, go back to normal, right click, punch in, much further.
Known for paying close attention though, so you'll have to excuse me on that one. There's
So-
a battery, and then I think we'll have what we need for.
It just basically centers up. And so as I'm going through, what I usually do, you can actually let this play.
Goddamn beautiful.
And
So we have a bunch of.
I
deals now.
just
We have
right-click
we have a
automatically.
C-truck deal. We have this thing. We got the
And
other
wherever-
stuff. We got everything that you want, we have it.
If that works, that's not by design.
Yeah.
I think I've got that through here actually. Oh, I do have a little bit. There we go.
Not by design.
So let's do a little bit of exploring. Oh, actually,
So it's
before I
basically you
go-
can do a rolling, moving, punch in and punch out based on what you're seeing on the preview screen. Okay? And then once you render that out, hit start rendering. And once that renders, you're going to be able to see the actual screen punch in and punch out, which gives it that dynamic look. It's essentially looking like you have multiple cameras and create some motion in between the scenes, and allows you to accentuate certain details on the screen. And Tobias, this is the other thing, your up and down arrow keys, it's like clicking O but not deleting the scenes. So you can scroll about your timeline pretty quick with up and down arrow keys as well. And so your biggest deal is that it's 3 hours, 2 hours long, right? Yeah, I mean, I'll just wait for this to get done. But what I have found is that when you cut, when you like when I'm editing these types of shows, it's an hour long. It's going to take me 5 minutes to do the automation part of it and get the settings right. If I really want to cut this, when I really cut them up to remove the filler words and in between spaces where, you're like, oh, here, let me check my file folder. Let me look here, before you get to dropping it into something of relevance. That fine tuning takes me just about as long as it takes to shoot live. If you want to entirely fine tune your timeline, it's not going to be, it would take me 5 hours to cut it all up by hand, okay? But it'll take me essentially 40 minutes to an hour to entirely fine tune every word that is said, right? So a 2 hour video, 2.5 hour video would be about 8 hours of work if you were to try and cut out all the silences by hand and fine tune. This is cutting it down to no longer than however long it took you to shoot live. And that's why I'm trying to understand why it was taking you so long inside the timeline to cut things up and see if any of these quick keys. Allison, how you doing? You are live with Doug, Quinston, and Tobias.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry. Took me a second to get myself set up in here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. So am I in the middle of somebody else's question while y'all are working on something?
Well, let me finish this off real quick. I'm going to show you, we were just discussing the punch in and punch out example. And Allison, hi, I'd love to learn a little bit about you, how you found TimeBolt and how you're using it, and happy to answer any questions and check out your workflows.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
So honestly, just this week, I found TimeBolt, and so just today I was trying it out, and I just doing the free version, but I'm not purchasing anything yet because I wanted to try out some of these the different ones, the different apps that are available. My question for you though was I got my video in, but now since it's free, can I not download it at all? I'm not finding a place to download it.
So so what you're going to do is just go to add to render queue after you.
Okay, got that far, and then I had to leave to go do something else. So that's where I am.
And the right now the start rendering is kind of hidden, like at the bottom right hand side of the. Yep. I understand how that would make it a little challenging to find, but. Right now, you just after you hit add to render queue, you hit start rendering, and it'll output a single video right to your computer.
It does. Okay, so this is I was just doing an interview with someone, and I've gotten this far, and like I said, I had to leave to go do something else, and I'm back now.
Well, that's the beauty. It looks like it rendered for you while you were gone doing something else. So you just click this link. Mm-hmm.
Now let me ask you another question, just because I've got you here and it's easier to ask the question than to actually do it myself. I was trying another app called Recut. So when I opened that up in my Final Cut Pro, and I'm not a pro by any stretch of the imagination, I'm very self-taught here, but it came up and it didn't have the video in the waveform. It was just like this bar with lots of up and down lines on it. Does that make any sense to you? I didn't know what that was. I wonder if I still have it in there because I didn't know what it was or how to deal with it. My question being, when I put this into Final Cut Pro, is it going to just look like the other with the video and the waveform? I mean, like it normally would for me to.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know what happens with Recut. I'm not entirely sure what happens with Recut, but.
Yeah, so essentially, I don't know how Recut works, but with TimeBolt, what we do is if you go into the TimeBolt UI,
right
inside the app, so you can scroll down to the bottom of the screen.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
And there is an option which says Final Cut FCP XML. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So I'll show you a demo of how that looks with when you actually export it.
So Doug, are you in Missouri? Oh, he's on. No, sorry. I see
Yeah,
your.
can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So as you can see in this file, right, there's lots of brought in a random file.
Mhm.
So this is a random file which I brought in, and I'm going to click on FCP XML. So this is going to give me a file. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to get this file, right? It's a .fcp XML file. I'm going to double click this file. It's going to open in my Final Cut Pro project. This is the file. I'll double click on this, and as you can see, all the cuts are there.
And it looks
That's
just
it.
like any editable file does.
Yeah, exactly. It just looks like any editable file like this. These cuts are just transferred onto Final Cut.
And that's really what I wanted to know. And when I do this myself, it'll be watermarked. I know I saw that. Use it just like I normally.
These are just cuts which are made, and you can just export them.
Well,
And you can do whatever you do.
You can't. This is the thing. We can't offer. The reason we don't offer a free trial, we'll refund your money if you decide to go with a different app or something like that. Just let us know. We'll refund. The reason we can't offer free trials because of our fulfillment software. Like, we manage license keys, right? So we're bound by some constraints, and so if we offer a free trial, we can't also offer coupons. Right, because it takes the coupon off the first transaction, which happens to be free. So that's why if you get the monthly or something like, just get the monthly, and if you end up loving TimeBolt and want to buy the lifetime or annual, I'll still refund the monthly. We'll certainly work with you, and if you like another app better, we'll refund the entire amount. But you can't do any export options without having a paid account inside TimeBolt.
Okay. So let me ask you then, if it says that if you do export something, there's a watermark. So tell me what you're getting if there's a watermark on something. Am I asking that question so it's making sense?
Yeah.
Well, the watermark is so that users can't just.
So if it renders, then Quinston, is it something that I can open somewhere else, or I'm just opening it and seeing that it rendered?
No, you can. If you go to your so the video just rendered, right? In your TimeBolt app, the video rendered, right?
Correct.
So you can go to that location where it rendered and play the video.
Okay, but beyond that, that's all that you can do right now.
Right now, yes, on the free version, yes, that's what we can do.
That was my question. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that's great. Okay. And Doug, what you said helps too, because I do want to try these out to see if they work for me, but I don't want to invest a lot of money because like I said, I'm still kind of at the novice stage of all of this, and I don't want to invest something that's going to cost end up taking more of my time learning everything than it would have for me just to go in and do the work manually. So
makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you give it a shot, we'll be happy to refund if you end up going some other direction. And we certainly know it takes time to learn these different software packages. So
all right. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate your time.
All right, Allison. Thank you. Appreciate you joining.
Bye-bye.
Right. Next up, we have John. John, how you doing?
Yeah, fine. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's night here, so I did not calculate the time properly, so sorry if I'm late. I've personally been using TimeBolt since January. I went for the monthly. I tried it for 2 months. Then I found out that there was a deal for lifetime, so I bought the lifetime deal. And every time I use it, it mainly saves me time with the cutting. At first, I had some problems regarding it was cutting my voice or video, the voice of the person who I'm speaking, the person who's speaking. But then I saw your video on YouTube that I just needed to adjust the settings, so that helped a lot. Now what I'm facing is I'm creating more videos about repurposing content from other famous videos, like mainly motivational. So it's like 10 minutes. I need to condense into 1 minute, make it a YouTube short to gain traffic, views. What I noticed is there gonna be a feature for TimeBolt where there's gonna be a scene detection. I use Final Cut Pro. It helps. There's no scene detection like Premiere Pro, so sometimes I need to go back to Premiere Pro just to get the scene detection. Then it helps me with the markers. So I was just wondering if future TimeBolt will make.
Can you describe the feature? Can you describe the feature, like what it does, or you can show us a demo if you want?
Yeah, at the moment, this is my meeting computer, so all the software is on the other computer. It's on
or you
Mac.
can just tell us that. That's fine. You can just tell us.
Yeah, mainly scene detection. What I mean is, for example, you're watching two persons speaking. So two persons are speaking. The camera focuses on the person A, then person B. So scene detection means when when you play a video, the AI detects that this from 2 seconds to 4 seconds, there's this person A is talking. Then from 10 seconds to 17 seconds, there's person B talking. So there's it's not like it's gonna edit everything for you, but you're just gonna put a marker and say that in this second, this is the marker where the scene changes.
So is the video the same video, or are they two different video tracks?
Yeah, my mistake. I did not specify. It's the same video, so there's just one video. There's just a change of scene.
Okay, so scene change as in one camera switches from one person to the other person, and marker is on the cut, like is the marker where the switch happens, or the marker is between the scenes?
Yeah, if possible before it switches. Obvious, type something in the chat, checking it out.
Yeah, no, that's a feature in Premiere Pro that if you drag in a long video, just like you would in TimeBolt, it tries to detect whenever you have edited something, it will actually try to cut up the video for you, basically. Not shortening it, but making a cut out of a long video which has like maybe 10 different scenes in there. It detects whenever the frames basically shift. So that's a bit advanced, but I think Avid has had that for years, and Premiere Pro has had that now since 2 years or 3 years now. And Final Cut, of course, doesn't have that.
I'll make a note of this.
I mean, if it's possible, yeah, because I think TimeBolt just detects the audio. This is more visual thing, so maybe it's gonna
it detects
blow
the
up your servers or something.
So that's
yeah.
much more advanced in a way.
Yeah, but thank you, Tobias, for sharing the video. I think it's a better reference than me talking. Thank you very much. Yeah, I interrupted you, Doug. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm trying to visualize so you said one video and there's two people talking, right? Like, so if it's just you and I on a Zoom, right? Is it like, I don't understand, if there's only one video, how does it select between a scene? Like,
yeah, I don't know if you've seen the video that Tobias linked. Maybe that's gonna clear up a lot of things rather than me.
If you jump ahead to 1 minute in or so.
What it's trying to describe is essentially, there's a video, right? There's, let's say, an interview that's happening between two people. It's the same video, but the cameras are being switched from one person to the other.
Right.
And the AI is supposed to detect where that switch happened.
Correct.
When does one camera move to the other person? Or move as in like just cut to the other person. And that's where your marker will be placed to tell the editor that, oh, here's where the switch has happened.
So, but it's either
video.
Me full screen or John full screen.
The other person full screen, exactly. So when does it switch? That's where the marker will be.
Then but when you're recording it, wouldn't it be two full screen people? No?
Not right, not in this. Like if you see like an interview on BBC or let's say Hard Talk or CNBC or whatever people watch, there's always an interviewer who is sitting across the table from somebody. One's on a chair, the other one's on a chair, and it's a full screen on one person at a time. The interviewer will have the full screen, and then when the interviewee is answering the question, it will be full screen on him.
They're using a switcher though, right?
That's not we're talking about the final file that you get, the MP4 at the end. In the MP4, it'll just be switching, right? It'll be alternating between each person.
And that's not done live on air?
It doesn't matter if it's done live on air. It's just the file that you get at the end is going to be an MP4 file where it's switching, alternating the cameras between the first person and the second person. So TimeBolt will then, as the feature is being described, will detect when that switch happens.
Yeah, so it basically, I think it is basically analyzing each video, and obviously, like, let's say video is, let's say 30 frames per second. And if it detects that the previous frame and the next frame are looking completely different, then it will set the cut point, and then it will find in the next time if there's a drastic change in pixels, it will make another cut point.
Correct, yeah. Maybe there is some...
The video I linked to, if you scroll, it's 2 minutes long. If you watch just like from 1 minute and out and onwards, then you just see it's a one long video file. He right-clicks, says it's like scenes, then and presses OK, and it does it for you. But that's quite something advanced. I mean, that has taken Adobe like 15 years to figure out. And they haven't figured out what TimeBolt does yet, so...
so these aren't... So what you're saying, guess what I'm saying? This isn't like 5 scenes, like 5 videos stacked on top of each other, all with
No, it's not.
No, it's not like a Zoom call. It's just a normal standard old school video with either or in full screen.
Wow. Okay. We appreciate suggestion. Do you, John? Do you have any questions about? Is everything pretty fast for you when you're cutting up your timeline? Do you have any questions about any shortcut keys? do you know like the S split timeline, all the, the O, we've got up and down arrow keys. And we also, right before you jumped on, we were talking about how we're releasing our beta version of Punch that will actually export XML into Final Cut and Premiere as well. Able to punch in on scenes, create that illusion of multiple cameras and hide the jump cut.
Yeah, I heard about that in the previous Zoom recording. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But yeah, the shortcuts, etc. Fortunately, I have a Stream Deck. I assigned it in my Stream Deck, so I don't need to control. Yeah. So yeah, the shortcuts okay. I've been using it since January. Been monthly, then went lifetime because it's very valuable. I also tried other competitors. It's not that they're awful, but TimeBolt is superior.
Can you explain that to us? What your experience was with the other editors and what your decision came down to?
Yeah, I tried WiseCut. I tried, what's the other name? I forgot the other names, but I did try a few from AppSumo, and tried some of those that are online. Some mobile also. I tried mobile. The main thing is it's not cloud based, so that's everything's fast. No need to upload stuff. That's number one, and it's fast. Then sometimes what happens is when Final Cut releases a new version, like what happened 4 months ago, like the software that I tried download, Jump Cutter, that's the name, Jump Cutter. They did not. I needed to reach out to support, which did not respond. So I needed to send a message via Discord. Then they did not fix the problem. They just took my file and made it compatible. So the updating, when something like a software updates, for example, editing software like Premiere or Final Cut updates, they don't update. So TimeBolt, it was like fast, like it updated. The files were compatible, no error. So that's one thing. That's another thing. Yeah.
What about timeline edit speed? Right, like just the ability to fine tune a timeline. Were you looking at that as part of your decision set?
Yeah, that was the main thing, save time. I mean, others did it, but the interface, it was not friendly. That's another thing that I experienced with another competitor. Like it's not advanced, or I mean, it's the UI basically. Yeah, user interface. It was smoother with TimeBolt. I mean, I need just to drag the file. There's no, I think the other one had options like I need to select if it's a Twitch stream or just a normal video. Like I just need to put a video. I don't need to get a VOD from streaming or something. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, VOD, video on demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's another thing mainly. But yeah, I was curious about. I was about to ask about the jump. The
Punch.
What do you call that? Yeah, the punch in, punch out. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for responding. Excited with that feature.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we're still ironing out the details. Right now, it just goes in and out, sets in the center. We're trying to figure out how we can do it on left corner, right corner, up, down, that bottom right. So you can punch in different corners right from like the timeline. So right click on the timeline, select your setting, and
yeah, like basically, it's like that diagram that our customer built for us. It's like if you're talking with your center head, you're talking like you are right now. If you punch in strictly on the center of the screen, you end up cutting off kind of like at the full zoom, you cut off kind of top of the head. But if you were able to say, hey, look, with this stream, I'm a talking head, we could punch in more towards the top, right? So you're getting more of your lining up more in your face. And if you're, recording at the bottom right, maybe you're a little talking head down at the bottom right or top, like keeping those aspect ratios in mind so that you're not just kind of cutting off the corner of your face, but maybe it's zoomed in. Fantastic.
Yeah, another thing that I like about TimeBolt, there's there other software, there's like a limitation, like you can only do 3 hours per month. But TimeBolt, like I easily go like 6 hours of footage. Yeah, I hope I'm not overheating the servers or something.
Well,
yeah,
you might be overheating the servers. And I think that's a big advantage that we have when customers go with TimeBolt is that, that money isn't used to go pay server costs, right? It's to pay apartment rent and build more product. That's kind of what, and invest in new features. Our server costs are negligible because we're not hosting videos. So we hope that gives us a lot longer staying power as well.
Yeah, I remember seeing your comment when on AppSumo, you said exactly that you're paying, the money goes to the rent, the two guys, etc. But yeah, it's not like you're spending everything. I think with $100, you said in the comment you can sustain servers for months, and it's just $100. Yeah, I remember that comment that you put.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you. You're obviously a well-informed customer and know quite a bit about TimeBolt, and appreciate you coming on. Were we able to answer your question?
Yeah, I just have one question regarding the punch in, punch out.
Sure.
Does it matter if the person talking is on the left, right? Does it auto detect where the person is, or do I need to manually select it?
No, I mean, we're thinking of like manually selection right now, like putting some sort of user interface when you are doing the setting that you can select. Maybe it's in the left corner, on the right corner, bottom left, bottom right, and then you can select the percentage of how much you want to like punch in. That would be like auto detection is not something we're looking at right now. I mean, maybe in the future, sure.
In a way that we might. Like we'd have to kind of test that, but as opposed to also manually selecting on a scene by scene basis, because we're dealing with long video, right? Is when that is set up to just have maybe like a little diagram that shows a person's head in the middle of the screen, and then the corners. And so the auto default, once you select that, is going to be when you're zooming in, it's going to zoom in towards the top half of the screen because your face is in it, right? Because if you were to zoom in right now on this, like we'd be like right here.
It just so one last question: when the file is exported, the FC, I keep forgetting the file. When it's exported and I open it on my video editing software, am I able to still move it, or is it burned to the?
You can move it. Yeah, you can.
Okay,
move it.
that's fine then.
Oh, once
perfect.
It's only an XML setting. It's not a video setting, so we don't render the video.
Well, if John, thank you very much for joining us. Tobias, you've been great. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Enjoyed seeing your side of Norway. If we don't have, it's Norway, right? Is it Norway?
Yeah, Norway.
Yeah, man, it's so weird to say that. Yeah, no, that's great. We've got customers everywhere, and Norway's a beautiful place. I've seen it online, but. That is it for this edition of Office Hours Live on April 14th, 2022. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the alert button, right? Is that kind of the way it goes, Quinston?
Yeah,
and
every week.
Every week we're out here talking to our customers on live on Zoom. So thank you very much.
Have a nice day, guys. Bye.
Bye.